Maya Thompson never imagined she'd be shut out of her own grandmother's memorial. Yet there she was, dressed in mourning black, watching the door close coldly in her face. The hardest part? She was the only one who truly understood Grandma Iris. While her relatives chased titles and six-figure salaries, Maya spent her youth in Iris's little vintage bookstore, absorbing tales from forgotten eras and studying collectibles. "You've got a gift for hidden worth," Grandma used to tell her, teaching her how to spot authenticity beneath the surface. Not all treasures sparkle, Maya, and some of the brightest things are the ones no one notices. Her parents never appreciated that bond. "You're wasting your future with that old clutter," her mother would snap. Look at Natalie, already heading marketing at 26, and Brian's working on Wall Street, but Iris saw beyond status and job titles. Where others valued diplomas and wealth, she showed Maya the deeper meaning of legacy, principles, and recognizing value where others saw none. "Before all this corporate noise, our family used to build things with purpose," Grandma would whisper, eyes full of warmth. "We prospered by seeing what others missed." Maya didn't know it back then, but those lessons would outshine any inheritance. When Iris passed away, the thin mask of family unity shattered. Before the funeral even ended, the whispers had already turned to arguments. "That bookstore must be worth a fortune," Natalie muttered, her voice slicing through the room. "She collected first editions for decades." Brian nodded, his gaze sharp. "And the building? It's in the heart of downtown Melbourne. Developers would pay millions." From the side of the room, Maya listened, her chest tightening. They saw price tags, but she saw memories lovingly preserved. Every item on those shelves told a story. A story Iris protected with care. The funeral became a theater of fake sorrow. Uncle Martin, who hadn't visited in years, now wept like a devoted son. And Lauren, who once called Grandma outdated, suddenly praised her as a woman of tradition. Maya sat alone in the back. When she tried to share a few words about Iris, Natalie cut her off with a smirk. "No one needs a speech from the bookstore girl," she said. "This is for family." Family? As if 15 years of weekends spent cataloging rare books and listening to Iris's stories meant nothing. After the ceremony, Maya walked to Iris's home. They used to share tea in the reading room every Sunday. But just as she reached the door, her mother stepped in front of her. "Where do you think you're going?" she barked. "I just wanted to—" Maya began, but Martin interrupted. "Leave. Now." His voice thundered. "You never belonged here. You're just some orphan Iris pitied." The words pierced her, but not as much as the silent agreement. On every face around her, even her father turned away. "She was the only real family I ever had," Maya whispered, backing away. Natalie's mocking laugh echoed behind her. "Go back to your dusty little bookstore. Some of us have real futures to focus on." None of them knew that Iris's humble shop earned over $1 million a month through global rare book collectors online. Years before anyone noticed, Maya had transformed the quiet little bookstore into a global enterprise, serving collectors from all over the world. The cozy storefront remained, a clever facade hiding an empire. But just as Iris had taught her, Maya kept that knowledge close to her chest. 2 days later, she received a call from Mr. Patel, her grandmother's attorney for over 3 decades. He requested an urgent family meeting to go over Iris's final will. Everyone gathered in his walnut-paneled office, already imagining the fortune being split. Maya considered not going. But there was something in Mr. Patel's tone. A flicker of satisfaction that made her curious. She arrived last, slipping into a seat near the back. Natalie and Brian were front row, while the rest of the family filled the plush armchairs, buzzing with anticipation. The air was thick with silent hostility. Mr. Patel adjusted his silver-rimmed glasses and cleared his throat. "Before we begin," he said, "Mrs. Iris Green left very specific instructions regarding this reading. He reached into a drawer and pulled out a letter sealed with deep burgundy wax, bearing Iris's delicate G insignia. She asked that I read this note. First. The room fell silent. My dear family, if you're hearing this, it means I've finally taken my last walk through a flea market. Please don't waste money on a grand farewell. I know most of you are here not for love, but for legacy. Natalie stiffened in her chair. For too long, I've watched you trade values for valuations. You've placed more importance on appearances than on authenticity. But there was one person who still saw what truly mattered. What I aimed to protect was never just a collection of books or antiques. It was a legacy built on recognizing true worth. Maya's chest tightened as Mr. Patel continued. To those of you who count wealth in currency, congratulations. You're about to understand exactly what you've lost. He set the letter aside and opened the official document. No one moved. 2. Natalie Green, Brian Green, and all other grandchildren except Maya. I leave $1 each. Outrage exploded across the room. Natalie leapt up, face flushed. Brian began shouting legal threats, but Mr. Patel held firm. To my children, Martin, Lauren, Stephen, and Clara, I leave my archive of family photographs so you might remember. A time when kinship mattered more than profit. Maya's father, Stephen, bowed his head. Uncle Martin's face turned crimson. This must be some kind of sick joke, Aunt Lauren shrieked. There's a real will somewhere, right? Mr. Patel raised his hand calmly, and the room fell quiet. To my cherished granddaughter Maya, who understood that richness lies in character, not bank accounts, I leave the entirety of my estate, including, but not limited to, Green collectibles worldwide. All associated properties, personal collections, and every business interest under the Green Legacy Group are now yours. The room erupted in chaos, but Maya barely noticed. Her eyes were locked on the next line. Mr. Patel read it aloud. Current total valuation, $4.8 billion. She felt her breath catch. Billion, with a B. This is absurd, Natalie shouted. She just ran some old bookstore. For the first time, Mr. Patel smiled. Actually, Mrs. Iris Green was among the most respected antiquities experts on the planet. The store? Merely the storefront of an international powerhouse. He turned toward Maya. Miss Maya, your grandmother requested a private meeting to review the full scope of your inheritance. Tomorrow morning, then? Maya gave a silent nod, still too stunned to find her voice. As she stood to leave, her mother reached out and gripped her arm. Maya, darling, we should talk about this, as a family. Maya gently pulled her hand free. Family, she said softly. You mean the people who kicked me out of her memorial 2 days ago? The calculating glint in her mother's eyes made her stomach turn. She turned to Mr. Patel. Is there anything else for today? He shook his head. No, everything else can wait until the morning. As Maya made her way to the door, Natalie's voice pierced the silence. This isn't over! We'll challenge this! Maya paused, her hand resting on the doorknob. She looked back at the people who shared her DNA, but had never shared her heart. Grandma Iris used to say, true worth isn't measured by price, but by the effort you invest in truly understanding something. Maya met each of their eyes. You never tried to understand her, or me. The door shut quietly behind her, leaving them with nothing but the echo of their own ambition. Walking down the street, Maya reached into her coat and unlocked her phone. She opened the final message Iris had sent just days before her passing. Remember, my dear, it read, the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's living so well that they realize too late what they threw away. A tear slid down Maya's cheek, but a smile tugged at her lips. Tomorrow would bring new battles. She would have to learn to run an empire, stand firm against legal attacks from her so-called family, and rise to the expectations Iris had left behind. But tonight, all she wanted was to return to the bookstore, sit in her usual corner chair, and remember the woman who had taught her that the most valuable inheritance isn't money. It's wisdom, love, and legacy. The familiar jingle of the bell welcomed her as she opened the shop door. The following morning, at exactly 9 a.m., Maya arrived at Mr. Patel's office. The enormity of what had been revealed still felt unreal. 4.8 billion, a number too big to truly grasp. "Good morning, Miss Green," Mr. Patel greeted her, motioning to a chair. "I hope you're ready. There's much to go over." He placed a thick folder on the desk, embossed with a logo she didn't recognize. Green Legacy Holdings. "Your grandmother," he began, "was far more than a vintage book collector. The shop was just a veil. Behind it was a global operation dealing in high-level acquisition, verification, and trade of rare artifacts." He opened the folder to reveal charts, ledgers, and international documents. Green Legacy operates in 43 nations, with offices in Geneva, Singapore, Toronto, and Cape Town. You're now the owner of one of the largest privately held art and antiquities organizations on the planet. Maya felt her head spin. How had no one known this? Mr. Patel gave a knowing smile. She was a genius when it came to discretion. Dozens of shell companies, hidden partnerships. To the public, she was just the sweet elderly woman running a charming bookshop. He handed Maya another envelope. "She wrote this for you. It explains everything." With shaking fingers, Maya opened the letter. "My dearest Maya, if you're reading this, you've just discovered that your old, peculiar grandmother wasn't exactly what she seemed. Please don't be upset with me. Keeping this secret wasn't just about the family. It was about protecting everything we've built. Green Legacy isn't only about buying and selling. It's about safeguarding history, preserving cultures, and when necessary, rescuing priceless pieces from those who would exploit or destroy them. Remember that Tang scroll you helped me evaluate last summer? That wasn't just a fun research project. We weren't just authenticating artifacts that day. We were dismantling a counterfeit trafficking network before it could flood the global market. I've watched you grow into someone with the exact skill set this world needs. Sharp eyes, a natural sense for the genuine, and above all, the wisdom to know that value isn't tied to a price tag. You're more ready than you realize, even if it doesn't feel like it. With all my love, Grandma Iris.ps. Check the hidden drawer in my desk at the shop. The red ledger holds the rest of the truth. Maya slowly looked up at Mr. Patel. "Did you know all along?" He gave a calm nod. "I've served as your grandmother's legal counsel for over 30 years. I helped her build all of this, quietly. And now, I'll help you lead it." Just then, his office phone rang. "Sir," his assistant's voice came through. "The Green family is here. All of them. They're demanding a meeting." Mr. Patel raised a brow toward Maya. "It's your call now, Miss Green. You're the one in charge." Maya took a steadying breath. "Let them wait. We've got more important things to do." The next hours were a whirlwind introduction to her new identity. The Green Legacy wasn't just wealthy. It was a powerhouse. They owned major auction houses, authentication labs, high-end restoration centers, and a security firm specializing in museum protection worldwide. Your grandmother meticulously outlined the transition process, Mr. Patel said as he handed her a binder. She prepared for this for years. All department heads have been notified. They're expecting your leadership. Her phone hadn't stopped buzzing all morning. Message after message lit up the screen. "Mother, Maya, please. Be reasonable. We need to resolve this as a family. Natalie, you don't know how to run an organization. You'll ruin everything. Martin, uncle. This is clearly elder manipulation." Iris wasn't mentally sound. Maya powered off the phone. She focused on the reports in front of her, and that's when something caught her attention. "Mr. Patel," she said, pointing to a column. "These figures. Natalie's company, Novatech Consulting. We own 60%? He gave a knowing smile. Your grandmother had a mind for strategy. She spent the last 10 years acquiring majority stakes in every one of your cousin's companies, quietly, anonymously. They never realized who the real investor was. Maya leaned back in shock. So now I control Novatech, Brian's hedge fund, and Uncle Martin's property group. The irony was almost laughable. All those years they mocked her for sorting through dusty books and working in that old shop. They had been unknowingly building wealth for Iris, and now for Maya. A knock interrupted the moment. Mr. Patel's assistant peeked in, face apologetic. I'm sorry to disturb, but the family's becoming aggressive. Mr. Martin Green is threatening to call the police. Maya stood. It's time to face them. Walking into the reception area felt like stepping into the middle of a storm. Every relative stared at her with a mix of fury and disbelief. Uncle Martin rose from his seat, voice booming. This joke's gone far enough. Natalie stood next. To him, clutching her bag. Our lawyers have already been notified. We are disputing the will based on mental incompetence. Maya calmly raised her hand. The gesture, so familiar, exactly like Iris used to do when silencing a room, stopped them in their tracks. Before you waste time and money on lawsuits, there are things you should understand. She turned to Natalie. Novatech took in a $100 million capital injection last year through a group called Emberstone Holdings. Ever think to check who ran it? Natalie's face drained of color. And Brian, Maya said, that generous anonymous investor who saved your fund during the financial collapse? That was Grandma Iris. Brian collapsed into his seat, stunned. Martin, Maya said, turning to her uncle. Do you remember when your entire real estate portfolio nearly collapsed in 2020? Who do you think stepped in, bought your debt, and negotiated your way out with the banks? His face drained of color as the truth sank in. I didn't just inherit a bookshop, Maya continued. I inherited control of every single asset, including your companies. The silence that followed was suffocating. Her mother stepped forward, voice suddenly coated in sugar. Sweetheart, this is why we should be united in this. Managing all of this, it's a lot. You'll need guidance. Maya held her gaze. Like the support you gave me at the memorial, or when you locked me out of Grandma's home. We were just emotional, her mother whispered. You have to understand. Oh, I understand perfectly, Maya said. You thought I was irrelevant because I didn't fit into your little definition of success. But now that I'm holding the keys to your future, suddenly I'm family again. She picked up her bag and turned toward the exit. Mr. Patel will be in touch with the boards of each of your companies. I'd suggest focusing on actual business management. I'd hate to have to make changes to leadership. You can't do this, Natalie yelled. You don't even know the first thing about running a company. Maya stopped at the door. No, she said quietly. I helped build $1 billion enterprise, right under your noses, and none of you ever noticed. Now imagine what I'll accomplish without having to keep it a secret. She closed the door behind her, leaving them stunned and silent. Outside, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. She opened it. A photograph of Iris standing proudly in front of a stately London building. A second text followed. Welcome to Green Legacy HQ, Miss Green. The executive team is ready when you are. Maya smiled, thinking of all those afternoons spent in the shop, soaking up lessons disguised as stories. Iris hadn't been teaching her about collectibles. She'd been preparing her to lead. Time to show the world who Maya Green really was. The first 6 months at the helm of Green Legacy taught her more than a decade in the bookshop ever could. But deep down, she knew every moment in that shop had been part of the training. Her first day at headquarters was surreal. The quaint image of Iris as a quiet bookseller hid the truth. She had been running her empire from a grand Victorian structure in Mayfair, with sleek, high-tech offices hidden behind its traditional facade. At the door, she was met by Lucy Zhao, Iris's executive assistant of 20 years. Miss Green, she greeted her warmly. Iris always said you'd be ready when the time came. Inside, the boardroom, the executive team was waiting. Veteran professionals who had helped Iris build the company from the shadows. They had all been briefed, years ago, about the succession plan. While her relatives had dismissed her as just the shop girl, these people had long known she was their next leader. Your grandmother prepared a full transfer protocol, Lucy said, handing Maya a sleek digital tablet. There are detailed notes on every department, as well as forecasts for predictable challenges from your family. Maya swiped through the files, stunned by Iris's precision. Legal challenges from Natalie, power plays from Martin. Iris had anticipated it all, and the first strike came fast. Natalie, never one to accept defeat, tried to launch a hostile takeover of Novatech, manipulating stock structures in hopes of weakening Maya's control. Maya let it unfold. Then, at a decisive board meeting, she revealed the truth. Green Legacy not only owned 60% of Novatech, but also held the intellectual property rights to the company's core technologies, rights Iris had secured quietly years ago. You see, Natalie, Maya said calmly, as her cousin's face turned ghost white. While you were laughing at me for working in that dusty little bookstore, Maya said calmly, I was learning to recognize more than antique value. I was learning how to read people and how to spot true worth, especially when it's hidden in contracts and intellectual rights. Brian tried a different strategy. He showed up at her office one bright Monday, all charm and fake smiles. Come on, Maya, he coaxed. We're family. We should join forces. I mean, I went to Wharton for this kind of thing, remember? Let me help you. Maya didn't flinch. She simply slid a report across the desk. You mean the way you helped your firm lose $40 million on speculative crypto startups last quarter? Your firm only stayed afloat because Iris built in financial cushions, and you never even noticed. Brian left without another word. 3 months into her leadership, Maya began implementing real change. She streamlined Green Legacy's fragmented operations, unifying scattered subsidiaries into a powerful and coherent entity. The bookstore remained their public identity, but behind the scenes, she expanded their services, particularly their authentication division. She spearheaded a new tech branch focused on digital certification of art and antiquities using blockchain technology, an initiative Iris had begun in secret before her passing. The industry response was explosive. One morning, Lucy handed her the Financial Times. There, splashed across the front page, Green Legacy emerges from the shadows, the hidden giant of the art world. By sundown, their valuation had surged by 30%. Her phone buzzed non-stop. Relatives who had once cut her off now couldn't text fast enough. Mother. Darling, we're beyond proud. When can we discuss my potential advisory role? Uncle Martin. Maya, blood is thicker than profit. Let's talk about partnership opportunities. She archived every message. No response. No time to waste. Instead, she poured her energy into building something that would outlive them all. 6 months in, the Green Institute of Authentication opened its doors, a cutting-edge facility combining classic expertise with the latest digital tools. They offered rigorous training for new authenticators, grants for young scholars, and open resources for museums worldwide. But the greatest satisfaction came not from headlines, but from the quiet victories. Like when Natalie's firm lost a high-profile deal because its patents were frozen pending, Green Legal's investigation, or when Brian's company had to publicly admit their largest backer was pulling out, sending their stock price into a tailspin. Maya never moved out of vengeance. Every action was part of a clear, long-term strategy to strengthen the group's future. That those actions also humbled her relatives? Just a satisfying bonus. 1 year to the day after Iris's funeral, Maya stood inside the bookshop, restored, unchanged. Though the empire had grown global, this place remained untouched, the heart of everything. The bell chimed as the door opened. Her mother stepped inside, looking older, more fragile than Maya remembered. The prodigal mother, Maya muttered, eyes still on the ledger. Maya, please, her voice trembled. We were wrong. I was wrong. I know words aren't enough, but you were right. Maya finally looked up. Too late. She shut the ledger with care. You want to know what Iris told me the night before she passed? She said, success isn't proving them wrong. It's proving yourself right. I'm not angry anymore, Mom. I'm just finished. At the funeral, you all showed me exactly who you were. Money didn't change you. It simply revealed you. We can change, her mother whispered. Please, just give us another chance. Maya smiled, feeling a strange sense of peace. You don't need my wealth to change, she said. If you've really learned anything, go out and create something yourself. That's what I did. After they left, Maya climbed the stairs to Iris's old study. Her study now. Inside the desk's hidden compartment were the final pieces of a larger puzzle. Letters, journals, black and white photos, a quiet archive of the true history behind Green Legacy. One photograph made her stop. A young Iris standing in front of the shop on its opening day. Same stance, same glint in her eye, same fire Maya now carried forward. Her phone buzzed. A message from Lucy. The Madrid acquisition went through. New valuation puts us near $7 billion. Downstairs, the familiar bell rang again. A customer browsing for forgotten stories. Maya smiled. That's how it all began. The family that dismissed her never understood what the shop really was. It wasn't clutter. It was a portal to unseen worth, unspoken truths. The greatest treasures, Iris used to say, are the ones nobody else notices. She had built a legacy on that belief. Now it was Maya's turn to expand it. In her own way. The bell chimed again. Time to return to work. Because there were still stories to uncover, still beauty to rescue, still lives to touch. A week later, an invitation arrived from Melbourne. Business school. Keynote speaker, Maya Green. Hidden empires, how to build greatness in plain sight. She considered turning it down. Then she remembered Iris's words. Sometimes the best revenge is letting them see exactly what they lost. Maya accepted. Natalie and Brian would be in the front row, of course, alumni, influencers, and now, witnesses. They'd sit there while the cousin they once ridiculed explained how she'd been building quietly, strategically, while they chased. Applause. But Maya wouldn't speak of revenge. She'd tell Iris's story, of how she built an empire not with titles or brute ambition, but with clarity, compassion, and insight. That night, as Maya locked up the shop, the bell rang softly once. More. Lucy stood in the doorway, a familiar sparkle in her eye. Miss Green, she said with a grin. London just called. They uncovered something in the archives. Something Iris left behind, for when you were ready. Maya smiled, her heart full. Even now, Iris was still guiding her. She grabbed her coat. Well then, she said. Let's go see what other treasures she left waiting. Because that was the real heart of Green Legacy. Finding value in the overlooked, wonder in the forgotten, and power in being underestimated. Just like Iris Green had always believed.